Welcome, Slayers, to another episode of DARKTIMES Debriefed, your behind-the-scenes look at how the ultimate Brawler Royale is being built. These updates are based directly on the internal development logs. They're raw, unfiltered, and designed to give you a clearer view into what's happening during each sprint. DARKTIMES has been in development since 2022 in partnership with Blowfish Studios, a team with deep experience shipping high-quality games. This episode covers the 2-week sprint ending on Friday the 13th of June, 2025, and includes build versions 17.1 and 17.2. Starting with 3D art, root motion was once again a problem. The spear animation was applying motion twice, causing a double-step effect on impact. That's now been fixed. We also discovered that the start root motion animation key was triggering motion at the wrong time. That's now cleaned up across the board. Charged attacks also got a full review. They were displacing characters incorrectly due to unaligned animation curves. That's now partially corrected. But we're still refining by weapon type. The one-hand sword charge attack still isn't working properly. It triggers inconsistently and the expected motion doesn't play. The exotic female cloak was also clipping. That's now resolved with improved colliders. The big win. Root motion is finally behaving for spears and knockback. The blocker, charged attack motion still needs deeper tuning, especially for the one-hand sword. Game design had less overall input this sprint, but still made a key contribution. While reviewing match structure and reward systems, the team confirmed the reward logic is scalable. It can now support different reward buckets across match types, placement, and contribution. That's now being handed off for back-end implementation. For the lead developers, throwing logic and recovery were the focus again. Knockdown was finalized in build 17.1, and that opened the door to stabilize get-up behavior. Previously, get-up was failing due to root motion being triggered twice. That's now resolved. Get-up also had a teleport bug. Players were recovering at the wrong position. That's been fixed. Players now recover where they fell. In build 17.2, we discovered get-up was triggering too early. It was firing at the start of throw, instead of after impact. That's now been patched. Executions are also back in progress. We're tying them to recovery logic and refining the entry conditions. The major win. Get-up now looks and feels solid. We're excited by that progress. The blocker, internal interference, high volume across other systems made debugging recovery timing harder than expected. Senior developer updates focused on bugs, charging attacks, and network variables. This sprint started with a bug on the ice wall. Players were phasing through it while sprinting at certain angles. That's an old bug, and it's now patched. Charging attacks also failed in certain states. The sword release animation wouldn't trigger correctly when stamina was low. That's now under investigation. A deeper pass on network variables also began. We're rebuilding that layer to prevent sync bugs and legacy motion conflicts. In Week 2, we expanded predictive hits to apply to NPCs, specifically zombies. Previously, zombie hits were delayed. Now they'll trigger reactions immediately, just like player attacks. We also revisited the charge attack bug. It's recurring under specific stamina states and still not fully fixed. The major win. We now have a clean way to call Unity's server RPCs without the non-owner error. That unlocks more flexibility for state syncing. The major blocker, Unity's BFS NGO backend is still unstable and continues to throw obscure RPC errors unless calls are perfectly sequenced. The QA team thoroughly tested both builds, again with solid progress. In build 17.1, QA confirmed fixes for start root motion, cosmetic placements, knockback behavior, and dazed pose sync. But a few issues remained. Charging attacks still fail randomly, often when stamina is low. Also, certain sword animations fail to trigger reliably after movement input. In build 17.2, weapon testing expanded. One-hand and two-hand swords, axes, clubs, the spear, shield, and great axe were all retested. Sheathing, draw timing, animation curves, and transitions were verified. Most weapons now behave correctly, but cloak clipping returned for the noble and old man characters. There's also a major bug where players fail to recover from the dazed state. They get stuck mid-recovery and cannot move. That's now under investigation. The win this sprint, hand placement and animation flow for most weapons is now correct. The blocker, dazed recovery fails in specific edge cases, and cloak clipping is still inconsistent across character types. Overall, this sprint delivered major improvements to throw logic, get-up stability, predictive hits, network syncing, and weapon root motion. Coming up next, execution triggers, matchmaking recovery, refined cloak behavior, and continued tuning on weapon charge states. Thanks for watching. Dark Times Debriefed. To join the conversation, head to discord.gg/darktimes. We'll see you next time, Slayers.